Hey, hi, ni hao. Bonjour, Stephanie, and it is December 24th. It's funny. There's so many holidays where you don't have to say I don't celebrate blah, but I don't celebrate Christmas, but I am very much so attracted to pretty lights. So I'm at a mall again, outside a mall actually. That mall, I've done that one a few times because there's a really nice fountain, and I decided to film this video here because it's so stinking pretty. I love these trees, what can I say? I am a sucker. And it's freezing out here, so my fingers are gonna go before my voice does. I want to do a quick update video because I think I missed one this week somehow. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, who cares? Who just cares? And this is part of my theme for 2019, is I just don't care. I pushed and pushed and pushed with HSK, with the podcast, with like everything this year. I pushed and pushed and pushed. Even with my physical recovery for some things that I have going on, I pushed so hard and I'm tired. So I'm gonna take in some pretty lights and I'm gonna go a lot freaking slower in 2019, and I'm gonna go hopefully deeper into the things that I like, and hopefully in a more relaxed manner that is more enjoyable and stress relieving instead of stress inducing. I have no regrets about what I did this year. I think for everything I dove into, I feel like I got really far, even though it may not seem like it to a lot of folks. But Stephanie, you've been studying Mandarin for a year and a half and you can't fill in the blank. There are far more people with that attitude than with the good job with the things I've done. And I know if you're watching this, you're probably in that wonderful, wonderful group of people that have been cheering me on, and I thank you immensely for that. Look at that tree! Anyway, I'm gonna try to sit down and see how cold this is. How cold is this? How cold is this? Holy cow! I think it's like 3 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. Okay, so the update this week is extremely tied into, I have notes guys, I'm organized, is extremely tied into the Changing Scripts podcast episode that's coming out on Wednesday. It is now Monday the 24th, it's coming out on Wednesday. And it's with Vaughn, who is a viewer of this channel. Hey Vaughn, how's it going? He's in his 5th year of learning Mandarin, and he has been reading from the beginning, which is super impressive to me. I need to move around again because it's too cold. And there are 3 points that he makes that are perfect for where I am in this week's update, which is why I'm pulling it in specifically. So let me dive in because my notes are more organized in my brain at this temperature in Celsius. Brain burn. Brain burn. I have had 2 weeks, brain burn is what Vaughn was calling when you're studying Mandarin, and I'm sure other things too, but we were talking about Mandarin in the episode. So when you're studying a language and your brain just hurts. I experienced brain burn when I was studying engineering at university. I experienced brain burn in some of my relationships when I first moved to California. If I am very honest. And I definitely, and a lot more in between, and I definitely experienced brain burn when I started studying Mandarin Chinese. And it's funny because there had been a few years where I hadn't experienced that kind of really intense studying, kind of challenging yourself burn, and it was nice to have it back. So brain burn, I think, is a really, really good phrase. I don't know, Vaughn, I don't know if you made that up or if you got that from somewhere, but I want to add that to my list of most useful phrases for talking about studying language, especially talk about studying Mandarin Chinese and the multiple layers with the characters, the script, the characters, the sounds, the tones, the sentence structures, and the parts of speech being suggestions, not hard set rules. So there's that, the brain burn. Ow! It hurts to hold this up. Okay, so 2 is the study method, and this is what I really need to hear this week. Vaughn and I talked in, I think, August of last year, and yet I'm editing this week because I went a little wild with the podcast interviews, and I wanted to talk to as many people as I could, and I did lots of interviews really fast. And what ended up happening is Vaughn was the last person I talked to, and he's the last person of the season. But even so, it was months and months ago that I talked to him. But it's really kismet that I'm editing his video now, because what Vaughn seems to do is to study intensely for hours and hours a day. I think he said like 6 hours a day for 2 weeks, and then he'll back off and he'll wait for the desire to study to come back. And of course, me being very like doing it this week, doing it this week, doing this week, I was like, well, how long does that usually take? And he said a few weeks. But then it comes back and then he does it intensely, and that's his rhythm, and that works really, really well for him. And I want to learn from that, because as much as I feel like scheduling what exercises and what chapters to do every week has worked really well this year, I go through phases like right now where I finished the HSK3 test, I intentionally took a week off, I got back into reviewing, I reviewed really intensely for a few days, I took another few days off, and I kept erasing and rewriting the chapters I wanted to do each day, and I'm just not back in a rhythm yet. Now, I think what's happening is I feel like I need to finish this podcast season, which will finish on Friday. Again, today's Monday, it'll finish on Friday. So once I'm done with all that editing, I think being able to do a couple of chapters review a day is super easy. And then when January comes, I'm going to start HSK4, and I'll do that in a slightly more relaxed rhythm. I'm doing 1 chapter a month of that in addition to reviewing the HSK3 material. I think I'm actually going to combine what I just said, number 1, the brain burn, and number 2, the rhythm, the study rhythm. I'm going to combine both of those, I think, in 2019, and I'm going to go by my brain burn. When it burns, I'll go, thank you, that means I'm learning deeply, and then I'll back off a little bit and wait for the desire to come, and then do it again. Knowing me, I'll probably want to checklist that out somehow. I don't know how that's going to work, but I definitely don't want to push it as much, because inevitably I end up burning out and taking a week or 2 off and then kind of losing the joy. I don't want to lose the joy again. So I really appreciate what he's talking about, and I really want to be more relaxed about it next year. So the last thing is, and this is something about the past for me, not so much about the future, about 2019, but Vaughn said that the first 4 years of studying Mandarin, he didn't really find it so hard because he had done martial arts. And I know a few of you are going to be like, oh, how cheesy, you're bringing martial arts into studying Mandarin. Tough, whatever. What are you doing on this channel? I am cheesy. But anyway, so he was talking about doing martial arts, doing different physical activities, doing tricking, which is like acrobats and martial arts kind of combined. And he said that he viewed the first few years of Mandarin Chinese as just doing that kind of daily disciplined practice. And although I do have that attitude towards my work, I never took that kind of methodical, kind of checklisty kind of attitude towards language learning. And I was I interviewed actually Taylor, who is another viewer of this channel. Hi Taylor. I interviewed her this week. She'll be showing up in April. Like I said, I interview way before they come out. I'm trying to get better at it, I swear. Anyway, so I interviewed her this week, and I had to thank her because she's the first person that I ever heard say they were doing a yearly language learning plan. And that's where I got the idea to section out the different HSK levels, to section out the chapters, and to literally just kind of plan out the whole year for this year, for 2018. So thank you, Taylor, for the idea to have a yearly language learning plan. I plan so much from year to year, quarter to quarter, semester to semester, month to month, and yet it never dawned on me to do a yearly language learning plan until this year. Y'all, this week I'm 47. That's a long time to not take what works for me financially and academically and bring it over into my personal goals. Why do these disconnects exist? I don't know. I don't care. Better now than when I'm dead, so there you go. So I pretty much have my plans for 2019. Like I said, I'm going to go 1 chapter a month in HSK4. I'm going to keep reviewing HSK3 because I'll be done with reviewing HSK2 and HSK1 this month, and then there's noise coming from the mall. And then I'll review HSK3. I've got some writing practice I want to reincorporate, and I keep saying I want to do some tutoring, but that's seriously coming too. So, and I do have those sectioned off still month by month, but if they maneuver around my calendar I'm going to be much more flexible about that because I don't envision taking the HSK4 test until December of 2020. That's a long ass time from now. I don't really care about the test so much, but I do need to have an external goal. So we'll just say 1 chapter a month until I'm done with all 20 chapters. And if at some point I go faster, that's fine. But I need to start with some sort of output, thus the tutor. I want to get back to writing the scripts. Even though I'm going to be typing them more, I do really like writing them. So I want to incorporate some sort of writing back in my study repertoire. I don't think that's the word I want to use, but there's a lot of language erosion going on in my head right now. I think that's it. So those are the 3 main points that I was going to say in my update video anyway, and in editing Vaughn's podcast episode that comes out on Wednesday, he kind of outlined them for me anyway. So I'm like, shoot, might as well do a promo and an update video in the same video. And if you think this is just a promo video, look at the other 200 videos here, man. This stuff all just cycles off of itself. The passion project just keeps passioning all over the place. I wish I was just a greedy, money-hungry person who could just make a product and ignore everything else, but that's not really what I do. So anyway, I want to show you the non-snowy, non-real snow Christmas trees, because these are kind of pretty. And then I'm gonna go, because that's my update. I'm gonna go slower, but I do have a plan. I want to thank every single one of you that have followed me in these past almost 2 years. And I really wish, no matter what you do, where you are, if you don't celebrate anything this holiday season, this end of the year season, I hope that you are happy and warm and content and are making your own goals for the coming year. Look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. Anyway, thank you so much, and I guess I'll have to end, because this is probably the last video of the year, I think, so I'll have to say happy calendar New Year, because I live in a place that has 2 New Year's celebrations, so I have to be clear. Can you hear that? The bushes have music. Anyway, so happy whatever you celebrate, and if you don't, just happy winter, happy solstice. I don't care. Just have a wonderful, wonderful time. And yeah, that's more next year, 2019.